enhance our understanding on project and EAFM components. We expecting to increase our awareness on BOBLME Phase 2 project and the role importance of EAFM component, focusing on our objectives, key activities, and practical implications for management of fisheries. Last but not least, we strengthen relationships between our stakeholders under the project, including Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. And also, we have a number of participants from FAO, and we are waiting for IUCN to come in. And we have a number of participants this morning. We have project steering committee members. We have EAFM core team representative from Indonesia. They are coming, Malaysia and Thailand. And project partners include FAO-RAP office, regional office, IUCN Bangkok office, BOBP-IGO, Dr. Krishnan now with us. Based on today's webinar, we're expecting to have a detailed report summarizing the achievements and lessons learned based on project activities under EAFM component, and increase participants' understanding of EAFM practices and the BOBLME project phase 2. And of course, collaboration and partnership among stakeholders will be strengthened. We will spend your time from 10 o'clock to 12 Bangkok local time here in Bangkok. Okay, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our Secretary General and Training Department Chief, Dr. 𝗔𝗰𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗃𝗏 to provide us the welcome opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Warawit. Ms. Angela Lentisco, Fishery and Aquaculture Officer, FAO Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific. Dr. Krishnan, Director of BOBP-IGO. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and participants, good morning and welcome to the webinar titled EAFM in Action Achievements and Insights from the BOBLME Phase 2 project. It is a privilege to open this session today. We come together with a shared goal to exchange knowledge and strengthen our collective efforts towards sustainable fisheries management in the Bay of Bengal region. This webinar reflects our commitment to promoting the ecosystem approach to fishery management, or EAFM, conserving marine biodiversity, and supporting the livelihoods of coastal communities. Today, we will highlight the achievements of the EAFM component under the BOBLME Phase 2 project over the past year. We will also share valuable insights from the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, or FAO, and the Department of Fisheries, Thailand. I encourage you all to participate actively in discussions by sharing your perspectives and learning from one another as we strive to enhance our fisheries management practices. I would like to express my gratitude to our partners from the Bay of Bengal Program, Inter-Governmental Organization, or BOBP-IGO, and the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or IUCN, for their invaluable support and collaboration. Together, we have made significant strides in our mission, and I hope today's discussion will inspire further progress. As we begin this webinar, I encourage you to focus on the impact of our work and the vital importance of collaboration among all stakeholders. Let us leverage the insight gained today to strengthen our network of support and cooperation. Thank you once again for being here. I look forward to an engaging and productive discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Secretary General. Next, I show you our schedule a while ago. From now, we will have presentation from Madame Angela, FAO-RAP office on the overview of BOBLME II Phase 2 project and the EAFM components. I would like to check with Madame Angela. If you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I just checking the sound now. Do you hear me a bit better now?
Perfect. Now you are on Earth. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. You might, I don't know if you can hear the background music. I'm so sorry that I can only join you for a little bit today, but I'm also joining another meeting and I was able to escape for the first half an hour. But it is certainly, I did not want to miss this meeting. So I accommodated my schedule today so at least I could join you for the beginning. And it's certainly my pleasure to be joining you this morning. As you know, the BOBLME Phase 2 project is a project that is implemented by FAO, but is executed by the three agencies, partner agencies. And so SEAFDEC is one of the executing agencies, along with the BOBP-IGO and IUCN. I don't know if it was possible to load up my slides from your end.
Yes, please.
Sure.
You can send to us.
I sent it to 𝗘𝗠 a few days ago. If you have it, if not, I can also find it and load it from my end.
Okay.
Have it easy access or?
Okay, we will operate from our end. Please wait.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Yes, so as it was mentioned before, I'm Angela 𝗘𝗙𝗃𝗏. I'm a Fisheries and Aquaculture Officer in the Regional Office of FAO for Ice in the Pacific. And I'll give a little bit of an overview of the BOBLME II project and the component on EAFM. So please, next slide. So just a very quick overview. The Bay of Bengal large marine ecosystem compromises 8 countries, but only 7 are now part of the project. It also has 6 international partners, which includes FAO, as I mentioned, is the implementing agency, and we have the donors of the project, which is the Global Environment Facility, the 𝗕𝗢, and also 𝗓𝗏, Norway, that provided funding for the project. And it's being executed by IUCN, which is the regional coordinating unit. And also they are doing the execution of the activities that are related to environment and biodiversity and marine MPAs. And they do the overall coordination of the project, linking all the different elements together. And then we have, as I mentioned, SEAFDEC and BOBP-IGO doing the activities that are more fisheries oriented. The SEAFDEC for the Southeast Asian countries and the BOBP for the South Asian countries. And so I'm so glad that the BOBP is also joining this meeting, and then we have this opportunity for sharing knowledge among the different countries and the different agencies. So this already, the project has already been very successful in bringing all the different partners together, even though we're only one year in. Next slide, please. So we are now on the phase 2 of the BOBLME. It's called BOBLME II Project. And it's building on the first phase of the BOBLME, which was a very classical 𝗕𝗢 International Waters Large Marine Ecosystem Project. The project started, the phase 1 of the project started in 2009, and it ran for about 5 to 6 years. And it was also supported by 𝗕𝗢, NORAD, and SEDA. And the key outputs of the phase 1 was on the building knowledge, on creating capacity, on strengthening the cooperation between partners and countries, and also very strongly on getting environment and fisheries departments to speak to each other. And they look at what are the key transboundary issues, which led to the development of the transboundary diagnosis analysis. And once these issues were identified, this led to the development of the Strategic Action Program, the SAP, which was endorsed by all the countries, all the BOBLME countries in 2015. And this paved the way for the BOBLME II project, which is the SAP implementation. Next slide, please. And this is the phase that we are now. So this is the Strategic Action Program. This is the document that the countries have agreed to work together and collaboratively in the different elements of the SAP. So there are 4 priority themes in which countries have decided to work in the Bay of Bengal under the BOBLME LME project. And these are under the SAP, and these are the marine living resources, which of course we mean fisheries. And these are issues related to ecosystem approach and also IUU fishing. And the other area is on critical habitats, on MPAs and biodiversity aspects in the Bay. There's a little bit of a component on water quality. This appears in the SAP, but in the project, the funding is limited, but there's a little bit of it. And then there's also aspects of social and economic considerations, which is considered throughout. So it's a very comprehensive on livelihood aspects. Is also something that is considered throughout on gender issues of the project. So it's very well mainstream. Next slide, please. So the SAP, for the implementation of the SAP, there's 5 components that translated into what we know now as the BOBLME II project. The component 1 of the project is on sustainable management of fisheries. And this is being led by SEAFDEC in Southeast Asia and BOBP-IGO in South Asia. And as I mentioned, here's the component on EAFMs and also on addressing IUU fishing. Yes, so very quickly, so because this is the component that we're going to be focusing on today. The other 4 components are component 2 on the restoration and conservation of critical and marine habitats. The project partners are collaborating very closely to ensure that there's direct linkages between component 1 and component 2. On the selection of the project sites as much as possible. Of course, it might not be possible at all times. And then there's a component on mangroves, which is only for Bangladesh under the CCM component. And component 3 is on the pollution control. And as I mentioned, the funding here is limited, but it will be a bit of work on waste management in ports. And then there's the component 4, which is in livelihoods, which is also very much linked to component 1 and component 2. This is what I mentioned, that is very well mainstream within the project. And this is led by IUCN. And component 5, also led by IUCN, but working with the other partner agencies, is on this regional mechanism for coordination, monitoring, and assessment with all the countries of the Bay of Bengal. Next slide, please. So today's webinar is more related to the component 1. The component 1 is divided in 2. One is on focusing on this institutionalization and strengthening of the capacity to develop and implement management and co-management where possible, using the ecosystem approach to fisheries management. The other part of this component is on addressing IUU fishing, but I won't go into the detail for that. Let's focus on the part 1. Next slide. Yes, so this next slide, please. Okay, so the ecosystem approach to fisheries management, I'm sure you are all very aware as attending this workshop, but yes, it's good to always go back to the definition. There's different definitions depending on who's doing it, but for FAO in 2003, they came up with this definition on striving to balance the diverse societal objectives, taking into account the knowledge and uncertainties of biotic, abiotic, and human components of the ecosystem and their interactions. And it applies an integrated approach to fisheries within ecologically meaningful boundaries. So what this means is that we're looking at the ecological dimensions, we're looking at also at the human components of the ecosystems and their interactions. And there's also a big component on governance that on how all this links together, on governance and management. So next slide, please. The ecosystem approach, then, it's an improved way of doing things. It's a better way of doing management. While the conventional approach considers just, for fisheries management, it considers just a few objectives, such as the MSY, and only a few target species. It is based on scientific knowledge and can be predictive. It's usually a top-down approach and very sectorial. So who does fisheries management only does fisheries management and doesn't look at other components of the fishery. The improved version or more holistic version of that brings the ecosystem approach is to have, it allows to do these things, which are still important and necessary, the conventional approach, and is very valuable. It also expands this to include multiple objectives, includes other aspects that, other impacts that the fishery might have on non-target species, and includes aspects on biodiversity and environment. And so it's built on the best scientific knowledge, but it also takes into account local knowledge as well. And if it promotes precautionary measures. It's adaptive because things change, and especially now with climate change, things change very, very quickly, and it needs to be adaptive. And it also tries to be participatory and interactive, and interacts with other sectors. As I mentioned earlier, one of the key aspects of the BOBLME I was to have this very good coordination between Department of Fisheries and Department of Environment. And so that's kind of like the key element of the EAFM, for bringing these other sectors into consideration, and of course also human and social aspects as well. Next slide, please. Okay, just to say that very quickly here, I won't go into reading the details, but it's sort of the reasons why countries decide to embark in EAFM. There's usually something that is happening within the fishery that is triggering a change. And these are some of the different, of the potential triggering factors. I think climate change perhaps is one of the key areas that's now affecting all of this, but it can be to more context issues that are also happening within the fishery that are aiming for the change. And then that's when the departments and the governments that try to bring this new perspective to see how to manage the fishery better. As I said, EAFM is a way of doing things more holistically. Next slide, please. And so there are already things happening within the country that already allow for working on an EAFM. So of course it doesn't come into a vacuum. It's already building on ongoing work that is happening at the local level, at the provincial level, at the national level, and also the regional level. So these are enabling conditions that can facilitate the inclusion of EAFM approach. And so policies that already have this kind of more participatory or more looking more at that sort of the impacts in a more wide way, looking at biodiversity aspects, on ETPs aspects. If the legislations, even though they're not being mentioned that they are EAFM as such, they can facilitate that process. The market, of course, also social conditions on organization, and other external actors. So next slide, please. But of course, we also face challenges and barriers once we do decide to embark on the EAFM planning. And this can be external to environmental changes, even though you plan for the best, sometimes it's not possible to take into account all the aspects from the system. And there might be also some conflict of interest with other sectors. as well as other aspects within the market that might not be rewarding these changes towards sustainability. And there's also other internal within the fishery that there's a lack of coordination, or there's not a good representation of fishers, or there's a poor way of monitoring and compliance, or there's lack of capacity, or lack of financing. Of course, for fisheries management is an issue that we see regularly. And the scale of the results, sometimes you would only start seeing the results way down the line of all these changes. While many times the reality is politicians will want to have something very quick. And so this is something that needs to be sustained within time and to flourish. Next slide, please. Okay, yes, just so you know, when you start on deciding on your EFM planning, just a reminder that there's already quite a lot of tools and guidelines from FAO that can facilitate the process. And for anybody interested, I'm happy to share the links to this reports later on. And in fact, that I should do that right after the call. But I think an important aspect for this is also that you can start documenting your experiences, because you're on the process now of selecting your locations. Some of you have already started, and I think this is very, very valuable, that we all have to learn on how are we doing things, and then revisit, and then keep learning, and then revisit again. So I very much encourage any type of reporting or publication that you want to bring out of this, and make it, put it out there for the public, because everybody's looking at BOBLME and they want to learn on what BOBLME is doing, and also how this will help also to scale up these approaches within the countries more widely. So we very much encourage you to do that. Next slide, please. Yes, this is again a bit more of the guidance on developing your EFM management plans. Have a very good idea of the scope of what are you trying to manage, what is the current situation, what are the key problems that are affecting the fishery, what can be done to address these problems, excuse me, how we will monitor and assess the performance over time, and what are the actions that can and will be implemented, who's responsible, and all these aspects of planning. As I mentioned earlier, this is something when you plan for the best, but then accommodate for changes as they come, and then you can adapt and change again. That's one of the key elements of the EFM planning, that is adaptive. Next slide, please. So yes, I think both SEAFDEC and BOBP will be giving more information on how they approach the EFM planning, and they're already working directly with countries, but on the sort of very high bird view level of what is expected from the BOBLME is that we will have at least 2 EFM plans per country. Some countries might have more. I think in the case of Thailand, yes, because of the the situation now that we still have to deliver 8 in total for the whole project, and in 7 countries. So there will be knowledge sharing and training, EFM training programs that, like this webinar that is being organized by SEAFDEC. As I mentioned earlier, the importance of documenting the process and the lessons learned, and having very wide stakeholder engagement and collaboration. So that's why this webinar is also so important. And we hope to have more of this, and also for BOBP and IGO to join, and IUCN colleagues to join as well. And the project also has an M&E system in which they will be monitoring the progress and the advancement of the EFM planning as we move forward. So yes, I hope that was not too long, and I think that was the last slide. Maybe let's go to the last one just to see. Last slide. Next. Yeah, that was the last slide. And yes, so thank you so much for for your attention. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to stay for a few more minutes before I have to leave. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Angela. For all participants, if you have any questions, you can open your microphone and directly asking Madam Angela. It seems everyone's still sleepy. Okay, can I ask you a question, Madam? I observed that I think the EFM, the concept and approach has been introduced, implementing in everywhere in the world. And what is the key message? Do you think the BOBLME phase 2, in addition to transboundary fisheries management, we are targeting at what kind of your expectation, FAO and project, looking at this program, Madam?
Okay, no, I think you're very spot on, and there's been very much the use of the FM. At least the terminology is being used quite widely. My advice perhaps would be not to be too much lost in the terminologies. If this is AFM, if this is ecosystem-based approach, if this is, if I think at the end of the day, what we're trying to see is an improvement on the management of the fishery in a way that is better adapted to the situation, to the context. So if we can have, very clearly set up your objectives at the beginning of the planning, and this can be modified, they're not set, but if you have objectives that are related to the fishery and from the ecological level, on what are the improvements that you want to achieve, if there are also some kind of social or human monitoring on what is the improvement for fisheries lives that you're going to see as well in the fishery. And also on the governance system, is if it is a system that is more participatory, that allows for changing, that is sort of a learning process in which the improvements and the challenges are being documented and recognized, and then they can lead to have, to feedback and to set up and to make the changes. Then I think you have a very good management system in place. So I think that would be a very good way of seeing that there's moving forward, that we can see a dynamic sort of system that is participatory and that is able to adapt to the changes, especially now with the issues of climate change. We're gonna see more of it moving forward.
Thank you very much. I think you need water.
Yes.
Thank you. I think you provide us very key message on how to make use of these tool, EFM tools, as a tool for mitigating, for example, the conflict over people who are resource users and other conservation and other stakeholders. And also we will looking at how this concept and approach can change better, not only for coastal community, but also for the key stakeholders looking at resource utilization. Still everyone quiet. Can I request one of DOF Malaysia to express your willingness to implement EFM activities under this program? Can I have someone from DOF Malaysia to express your view? What is the direction of promoting, implementing EFM in your country?
Hi, good morning, Dr. Warawit.
Good morning. Yeah, please.
Okay, Doctor. So regarding on BOBLME, is just as I just want to inform that Malaysia is yet to sign the product. So we didn't do the planning yet, which sites that we really want to confirm to do. However, In our national programs, we are implementing EAFM, so it's an ongoing programs in Malaysia. But for specifically for BOBLME, we are yet to come up with the what called identify the size and the planning. So that's all from Malaysia, Doctor.
Thank you, thank you. You are very good progress. Hopefully we can get signature from Malaysia very soon. Regarding identification of the site, I think you can come to us at any time, even though you're not signed yet, but you can communicate to our team. Kun Paninath, she's expert on this, and we have a team to help. Before we move to the next, can I get microphone to our colleagues from Indonesia, if you are in the room? Not yet. Okay, I saw some of you. What is the future plan under EFM components in your respective countries? If you can provide us more information to the webinar. Because we have full team of EFM here, we can listen from you if you have any. Okay, seems none. I would like to move to the next agenda, the presentation of our staff, the issues on overview. Oh, sorry, presentation on the achievements of the project under EFM components implemented this year by Kun Paninath Weerawatt, Fisheries Management Senior Researcher of SEAFDEC Training Training Department. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Moderators, and good morning to everyone. For the presentation, we will focus on the outcomes of the 1.1, which is on the institutionalizing the ecosystem approach to fisheries at the national levels. These include managing target-tan vulnerable fish stocks, such as mackerels, 𝗘𝗔𝗙𝗃𝗠, and 𝗘𝗢𝗕𝗟. By implementing this approach, we aim to promote sustainable fishery, ensure resource conservation, and enhance collaboration across the borders. For the output and indicators, we aim to implement at least 2 ecosystem approach to fishery management plans in each participating countries. Our target include training 500 practitioners across 3 countries and implementing a total of 8 EFM plans in the project area using the focus area approach. Additionally, we aim to establish or strengthen national and regional platforms to actively involve grassroots stakeholders in management decision-making. Finally, we plan to embrace EFM training within national and regional training institutions, with 8 institutes adopt EFM principles. For this slide, we are trying to show the work plans and the goals within these 5 years. The first year, we focus to build up or strengthen human resource capability as the core teams in implementing the EFM. Then the core team will roll out the knowledge, skill for the EFM implementation, which will be mainly take tasks in the following years. And each year, there will be the national workshops for country to discuss the progress and plan for the activities, as well as to share the lessons learned from the project. Then the regional workshop will be held in providing forums and platforms for the participating country to share the output, outcome, lesson learned, work plans, as well as establish and strengthen the national and regional platforms. And in the last years of the project, we will focus on the monitoring and evaluations of the EFM implementation in the countryside. For the project achievements in the year 2024, under the output 1.1.1, as we aim for the implementation of at least 2 EFM plans in each participating country. The key implemented activity includes an inception workshop in Thailand from the March 20 to 22nd, which gathers 21 participants to discuss 𝗘𝗔𝗙𝗪 fish stock and project preparation. The second one is the EAFM training course conducted from 10 to 14 of June, resulting in 24 participants trained, with 10 selected for future trainer of the training. The third, a survey and consultation meeting lead to the identification of 2 fishery management units for the EFM implementation in Thailand. And for the output 1.1.3, we focus on embedding EFM training in national and regional institutions. Highlights include 2 representatives from SEAFDEC and 2 Department of Fisheries officers participated in the regional training on CCRF and EFM in India from November 15 to 30. And also the last event of this year is this webinar with title EFM in Action, Achievement and Insight from the BOBLME II Project is carried out today. This to share our achievement and insight to inform future practices among us participating country and the partner. And now we are looking in each implemented event. The inception workshop on EFM institutionalization at the national level in Thailand marks a significant step in adopting the ecosystem approach to fishery management, with the focus on addressing 𝗘𝗔𝗙𝗪 fish stock. During that time, participants engaged in productive discussion, sharing insights on effective management strategy. This collaboration underscores the necessity of coordinated effort to ensure sustainable fishery practices and conserve visual marine resources across the borders. For the EFM training course, which equip local officers responsible for managing the Andaman coastline of Thailand, particularly those involved with the expected fishery management unit, with essential tools to adopt EFM principles in their roles. Participants learn practical applications of EFM, empowering them to implement sustainable fishery practices effectively in their responsible areas. For the surveys and consultation meetings that focus on defining the EFM learning size and successfully identify fishery management units for EFM implementation, the selected FMUs are the 𝗘𝗔𝗙𝗪 in Phang and also 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 in Stone. These sites will play a crucial role in applying EFM principles and enhancing sustainable fishery management as the project FMU learning sites of Thailand. For the training of trainer programs that train 10 trainers from the Department of Fisheries and the Department of Marine and Coastal Resources. These intensive courses aim to build their capacity not only to become the EFM trainer, but also to lead future EFM initiatives. These trainers are now equipped to engage effectively with communities and key stakeholders in the fishery management unit. In the coming years, their tasks will include delivering EFM training sessions, facilitating community workshops, and promoting sustainable fishery practices at the local levels. For the representative from SEAFDEC and Department of Fisheries officers from Thailand participated in the regional training on CCRF and EAFM organized by BOBP-IGO. During the training, participants gained valuable insight into sustainable fishery framework, identify best practices for implementation, and establish important network for future collaboration. This experience significantly enhanced their capacity to promote effective fishery management with strong network, being crucial for sharing knowledge and resources across our regions. And this slide showing the proposed activity for the year 2025. We will continue to focus on the implementation at least 2 EAFM plans in each country under Output 1.1.1. As highlighted on the screen, the proposed activity aims to enhance understanding and skill related to the EAFMs at the national levels. The key activities include the national workshops that designed to deepen understanding of the EAFM among stakeholders, get prepared for the EAFM implementation, as well as EAFM plan development, and also EAFM training course with aim at enhancing the skill necessary for effective implementation of EAFM principles. Also, the training of the trainer course lead to develop EAFM trainers and EAFM core team of leading future EAFM initiative and implementation, and also the EAFM implementation support. These provide at design business sites in countries that have completed earlier training, ensuring the practical application of the EAFM principles. And under the Output 1.1.2, aim at establishing or strengthening national and regional platforms, SEAFDEC plan to conduct a national EAFM workshop. This workshop will share results and lessons learned from previous activities and encourage countries to identify and enhance the skills of their EAFM national working group, ensuring grassroots stakeholders are involved in management decision making. And for the Output 1.1.3, that focus on embedding EAFM training in national and regional training institutions, SEAFDEC will provide support by offering opportunity for EAFM trainer to deliver training course. Additionally, a regional workshop will be organized to share progress on the outcome 1.1 and discuss the work plan for the activities of the year 2026. And this is my last slide, which would like to inform the meeting that in 2024, our works, activities, and achievements, we are focused on capacity building as a crucial step toward effective community engagement in 2025. The key milestones include the capacity building. We conduct training workshops on EAFM, lead to strengthening local capacities for sustainable fishery management and supporting the project's resource management objective. And the community engagement preparation, we are engaging local community in sustainable fishing practices to target workshop, fostering local ownerships and stewardships of marine resources. This work equips fishery officers with EAFM principles, enabling them to effectively collaborate with community in the year 2025, lead to enhance the EAFM implementation. And this end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Kun Panitnath. I think everyone here, you are listening to the key message from Kun Panitnath regarding implementation of project activity under EFM component. I would like to highlight that there are two key elements in implementing the project activity under EFM component. One is, as you saw her slide a while ago, the capacity building is a key, first key, the project developing through the national training, including the national workshops, try to understand the project component and having the training program at national level and come up with the training of the trainers and establishment of the fisheries management unit. And finally, the project developments on EFM will be implementing. Any questions from the floor? I saw more number of participants now in the participants room. Any questions to Kun Panitnath? If you observe in Thailand, we achieve maybe national workshops, training program, and also survey for the establishment of the fisheries management unit before entering to the implementation of the EFM plan. Can I hear from Kun Panitnath where is the project site? I observed that Thailand proposed to have two pilot sites in Satun and Phang. Is there any unique of differentiation between these two communities or any similarity of these two? Thank you.
In response to the questions, regarding to the FMUs which are consensus selected by the Department of Fisheries during the meeting, actually there are many learning sites that we interest. However, when we focus on our target, then these two sites were selected. The one with in Stone, that's 𝗔𝗰𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗄𝗏. So that's one give us the chance to work much more on the McCullers, which it is one of our target species for the 𝗘𝗔𝗙𝗫𝗏 stock. And for 𝗘𝗏𝗵𝗶𝗃 in Phang Nga province, that's one located in the Bay of Bengal. So we do not work much on the McCullers, but we focus more on the species within the bay. So these two sides are a little bit different, but the same thing with going to come up for the result is that our local fishery officers will work closely with the community and stakeholder for the EFM implementation, and then this can come to be a very good lesson learned and also the knowledge and experience gained that by our by our country. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Kun Panitnath. For your information, the location of the Stone province is located just opposite side of Langkawi Island, where under Malaysian territory. I think very good starting point from Thailand, selecting the position of the project site in Satun, where we can further work out with Malaysia whether they have interested in establishing the fisheries management unit in the area close to Satun or not. It seems everyone's still sleepy. We are now almost 11 o'clock local time. I'm not allowed to have a break, so we would like to continue to hear lesson learned and achievements from our partner, key partner in Thailand, DOF, Department of Fisheries Thailand, Kun 𝗘𝗏𝗫𝗏𝗃𝗏. Are you ready? If you're ready, we can hear from you. Thank you.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, please, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry, you have You have
I
the PowerPoint, or you will speak?
I have a PowerPoint sent to คุณพนิษฐ์นาถ
Okay, we will operate from our end. Thank you.
Okay, now that this program is the sustainable management of the Bay of Bengal large marine ecosystem, phase 2. Next slide. Yes, we have a 5 component that DOF Thailand.
Sorry, Kun 𝗘𝗔𝗙𝗪 to disturb. Can you speak louder? Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Now clear. Thank you.
Yeah, so for Thailand DOF, we responsible in component 1 and 3. Component 1 that show in slide the sustainable management of fishery. Next slide, please. Yes, for the component 1, the separate to the sub-component like one is ecosystem approach to fishery management, institutionalized at a national level, include target transboundary fish stock, and another is IUU catch in BOBLME reduced. That we for me I work in the EAFM in the sub component 1.1. Okay, next slide. Yeah, this that I work in this section. Next slide, please. Yeah, for the insight and lesson learned in 2024. The one is about the transboundary fish stock. The second is government personnel, and the number 3 is the community. It's the part that I will talk. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, about transboundary fish stock. The implementation under the part framework must take into pelagic fish which are migrating in the Bay of Bengal area. Therefore, the selection of appropriate activity area must use scientific data such as laying area, spawning area, and fishing ground, and food resource to consider FMU that affect the resource. Activity area under the available budget framework may be not able to operate in area where the impact are clarified visible, such as operating only the some community in coastal area. Therefore, the management model may not cover the entire value chain resource use. The result are therefore only example for activity implementation, not show the successful of resource management. That means we only select the small village that maybe the result can show the successful, the great successful, only the small scale, something like that. Okay, next slide. The selecting of the species of fish that migrate across to border is also the problem that we have mackerel and under species that the fishery department the accessible and organize and internal meeting to select the species. That's why we select the mackerel that we have the long-term data. Another reason is that the local fishermen can go out to fishing because the mackerel live in coastal area. Therefore, the mackerel is a most suitable species. That the reason. In addition, the gillnet are fishing gear that is not expensive. The fishermen can make them by themselves at home. And these are all result that we select the mackerel. Next slide. For the government personnel, setting the framework for the implementation of the sub-activity under the project, especially in the first year, that focus on building the potential of personnel implement the project according to the EAFM concept, which is beneficial to the agency personnel. However, the key point is to create experience during the implementation of the project in solving problem or deciding on how to work with the community. That's the challenge. And therefore, the development of potential should occur throughout the duration of the project, only changing the course topic to be intensive according to the work process that is taking place. Next slide. Then the community, this point is very important. When starting to work with the community, the expectation from the community is that good thing must happen and be seen in a tangible way. Therefore, support of sub-activity must include both the development of human and community potential and the support of material and equipment for the community to drive resource management. The operation of the project emphasizes personnel development. It do not focus on developing the target community. As a result, there are relatively little budget for working to solve community problems, causing concern that this project will not be able to effectively solve the problem that arise from writing the EAFM plan, because the village have expectation in this project. That this we concern. For other, the obstacle, it is expected the catching on mackerel will not occur all year round. Thing according to the migration of aquatic animal into and out of the area, because like they have a in the all year they have a migrate and come in the fishing ground, and some month that go out to spawning, something like that. That means we worry it's not like a maintain cash all year and low and like a seasonal. The second is answer about the continuity of the budget to build confidence in the community. The third, the conflict and difference of opinion in the project community area. In the community, everybody not have the same idea. Yeah, they have some different and a little bit conflict as well. The problem issue is the conflict between fishing ground, the conflict between local and commercial fishing ground regarding resources used, such as fishing in overlap area. Yeah, in Thailand we have a separate the sea at the coastal area and the outside of coastal area. That sometimes the fishermen, the small scale can go out, but it have some problem, have some conflict between the commercial and the small scale. The lack second, lack of the effective law enforcement fishing in prohibited area or illegal use of fishing gear still exists, including inspection and enforcement of law in remote area, maybe not comprehensive. The third is the climate change that is now the change in the sea temperature and behavior of the aquatic animal affect fishing in this area as well. The last is a development that does not consider the impact on the ecosystem development of the port and coastal infrastructure such as house, tourist business that affect conservation area and habitat of aquatic animal as well. Next slide. For obstacle in EAFM implementation, first is the lack of human resource and budget for EAFM project implement are still insufficient, and that means it's not the budget to operate that for the DOF. Yes, we work collaborate with the SEAFDEC. We have like a work plan in the annual work plan when we have this job come to join. That why the people, the staff must have the work plus that. The second is a community awareness in some area. The community awareness in some area is still insufficient. Some areas still have misunderstanding about the importance of resource conservation. That means the people in village, some people they think only conservative is not like everybody cannot use the resource. We try to make like we must use like sustainable use, not only keep, not use. The third is communication and coordination between agencies are still unclear about role and responsibility, causing delay in implementation. And now I think everything is clear. We must go along with the SEAFDEC. Yes, this for me is only this. Thank you.
Thank you very much คุณเฉลิมชาติครับ he is a representative from Department of Fisheries Thailand. Based on his presentation, we found a number of issues here. His main target is on not only transboundary species of fish stock, but also including the government officers who will be equipped with a proper knowledge and skills to be able to facilitate implementation of EAFM plan developed for the project site. Also, he very much expecting the community in the project site to understand and to raise expectations of the community in order to be able to effectively implement EAFM plan. Can I request the floor because we still have a time?
I
yes.
have question for Thailand.
Okay.
The information that you present in your slide, I saw a lot of challenges and obstacles. I'm quite not sure that when you select two pilot sites, these obstacles are already solved or not. Because as I understand that this project, you must be integrated with your national project that already have in DOF to be work with this project. But I'm not sure that there seem that there still have a lot of obstacles for the implementation of these two pilot sites.
Okay. คุณเฉลิมชาติ can you? Yes, the question is that do you sure that the local government officer and the community they are very well understand the concept and together improve the plan while you are presenting still a number of the issues still on the ground. We cannot hear from you คุณเฉลิมชาติ Could you please?
ได้ยินไหมครับ ได้ยินไหมครับ
Okay, now we are hearing you.
Yeah, for the local governance, we select that area because that area is understand for the concept, especially บ้านละไวใต้ they they are agree with us to do about the mackerel. They have a good cooperate when compared to another village. That's why we select Institute บ้านละไวใต้ and also for the 𝗘𝗏𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗃𝗏𝗺 that area we have biodiversity in the Phang-nga Bay, and we have a good relation with the village บ้านปัญญี to do the obstacle that I show in my slide. It mean in the general the obstacle something like that, but the village that we select have not for this, and we worry about only the expectation from the village, all village that we go to work with them. They something like they need something from the project. That something the project cannot give them. There's something like that about the budget that we have cannot give them. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I think expectations from the community are very important to be considered, accommodating the how the project can effectively implement in the ground. Any comments? If none, I would like to request everyone, please open your camera. We forget about having the photo after the opening remarks. If everyone okay, can I request all of you open the camera? While we are waiting for all of us opening the camera, I took note on the expectations from the community under the achievements from Thai Department of Fisheries, including the fluctuation of resources regarding mackerel, fish stock, and as mentioned by Kun 𝗘𝗏𝗪𝗃, there's long-term budget requirements for effectively implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of the EAFM plan. And still there a number of issues regarding conflicts among resource users, not only fisheries resources utilization, but also other stakeholders, including tourists. Everyone open the camera already? Can we have? Okay, I think I saw almost all of us. Wow, fantastic. Okay, I see nobody sleeping. Okay, I think our staff will call 1, 2, 3. Okay, I call 1, 2, 3. Okay, smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we wait for Malaysia just a moment. Mr. Dahan or Madam Dahan, we waiting for you. Hello, Henry, how are you? Okay, once
Good,
again,
sir.
Yeah, hello. 1, 2, 3, we take picture. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we done? Okay, we done. Thank you very much for your kind cooperation. So, who are you? Okay,
Sorry, my camera is problem.
It's okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any questions regarding achievements from Department of Fisheries presented by 𝗘𝗔𝗙𝗪𝗃𝗏. Seems none. Really clear? Okay. Thank you very much, 𝗘𝗔𝗙𝗪𝗃𝗏. And we move to the next agenda. We are waiting to hear from Dr. Krishnan, BOBP-IGO, on sharing information knowledge based on the issues regarding EAFM. If you are ready, Dr. Krishnan. Okay, the floor is yours.
Yeah, very good morning to all respected secretary. I'm audible there?
Yes.
Yeah. Very good morning to all. Very happy to be associating with this important webinar being organized by SEAFDEC, Secretary General, and then the whole team of SEAFDEC. Congratulations for this initiative. And I'm sure like this will set a kind of momentum in enhancing the understanding of the whole concept of EAFM and the benefits that the other countries can have by having a network as a part of this project team. Like, so I'll building on whatever has been discussed so far. I'll make a brief presentation on experience, best practices and experience sharing. Like, yeah, I get an echo here. Maybe in the hall, two systems are mics are on, I suppose. Okay, so practically I will request Dr. 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏 to support me when we open the floor for the best practices discussion among the people who are experts who are participating from different countries. So I'll take through briefly from the South Asian side when the Bay of Bengal program has started implementing this project along with SEAFDEC during the last 1 year. What are the key lessons that we had, which we thought like will be worth considering for other countries also who are attending here? First, as we all know, and as FAO and SEAFDEC also highlighted, when we talk about institutionalizing EAFM, which is the fundamental objective of this project, we need two things to happen concurrently. One, the management framework has to be built, and we have to focus on capacity building. So when we talk about this, sheer training will not help. There has to be a kind of a robust framework in terms of the legal framework, the policy structures, and then the institutional capacity, and also a mechanism for documenting whatever best things have happened in the country or in the region, and what kind of relevance these learnings will have to improve our implementation in the respective countries. Like, so we understand like these two things may have to go hand in hand all the time. And with respect to implementing EAFM, the first step could be like selecting the FMUs, which is a major objective, because this is a pilot site. It has to be exemplary, and then it has to be successful and then inspiring for the whole country to take it forward for scaling up once the project is completed. So this is a very crucial step, and both the project partners, SEAFDEC and BOBP in our respective countries, we have spent this entire 1 year substantially in formalizing the identification of the fishery management units. And after the identification, the one major thing that we should be doing is like scoping study. So comprehensively understanding the ecological issues, social issues, and governance related issues in the particular site. So identification of the problem which can be solved through EAFM concept is fundamental. And to understand the different shades of those issues in terms of ecological, social, and governance is one. Then based on those issues, we'll be developing a plan, define a clear vision and goal for the issue to be addressed, a kind of a timeline, and what could be the performance indicators of success, and specific actions and activities that will be followed up under the project. So these are the major things that we'll be doing. And when it comes to implementation, in the project site, a co-management framework will be implemented, and then there will be a mechanism for mainstreaming the adaptive strategies. And also the project will set in place a monitoring and evaluation framework so that periodically there will be an opportunity for course correction as well. So just a quick glance on the kind of initiatives that we have done during this last 1 year. Just like SEAFDEC, we had 4 member countries: India, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Bangladesh. So in all the countries, we had extensive consultation in order to identify the sites. Not only that, to engage with all the stakeholders, the department, various ministries, and then the academia, researchers, fisher groups, and other community organizations, to kind of make an announcement of the intent of the government to popularize and then pilot EAFM in the respective countries. So that was a major initiative. So a wide dissemination of this very intent is important, because in a large country, just 2 pilot sites, if it is done in isolation, that may not have the required kind of a focus or the benefit. So dissemination is fundamental. That's the message first. And when we identified the sites, the project provided for 2 sites in every country. So this is another thing, the lesson that I would suggest, like we shall think of, is like in a big country, like just having a pilot in 2 sites, which is actually provided in the project, possibly may not be having an adequate impact. And if at all the governments are keen, and then within their national budget and within their national programs, because EAFM is mainstreamed in the national policies of all the countries. So if the government can support, there could be a case of adding more sites also. So here is a case to show, like in Bangladesh, India, and then Sri Lanka, the respective government suggested to add 1 more site, so that the capacity development activities under the project will be kind of reaching out to more people. And at the same time, government will be supporting implementation of specific activities for the identified fishery management unit. So here it is adding sites to have better impact. And for all the identified sites, I'm just going to give an example of one particular case. So we have identified close to 3 to 4 sites in all the countries. So during the national workshops, which were held for close to 3 to 4 days in different countries, our objective was to understand the site, what is a major fishery, how many stakeholders are there, what is the method of fishing, and the core issues. And the issues like, say, for example, the Putlam Lagoon ecosystem, which is one fishery management unit identified in Sri Lanka. The issues were like illegal nets, unregulated aquaculture, pollution, jellyfish stings, and then high turbidity. And the stakeholders who are concerned, or who are kind of having a role to address these issues, were also identified. They were even prioritized, like who has a major role, who has less role, where they can intervene, all that. Like, so before going for a comprehensive scoping study, during the national consultation, the participants and all the stakes had an opportunity to understand like what this entire project is kind of going to bring to this entire site. So for that, the participants engaged in this entire conversation. So what I mean to say is, like, the workshop, when we do it, the messaging can be more than identifying a site, identifying the fishery management unit, but also to understand the issues and then the entire way forward. And this is one additional thing that we did in this region, possibly has a relevance in all other countries as well. All we know, like, however focus we do in terms of building the capacity of the officers or the stakeholders, unless the countries have adequate legal and policy framework, the EAFM concept will not be grounded. So FAO has developed a kind of a framework to evaluate how far the countries are ready in terms of their legal and policy framework. So we did this alignment evaluation. FAO has done for close to 30 countries, and these 30 countries included Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh in our region in South Asia. So we try to address this gap with respect to India, and there are 82 legal requirements which are identified by FAO. So we evaluated across all the legal and then policy frameworks, like how far there is alignment in the existing legal and regulatory framework. So the study revealed there is a gap of close to 25 EAFM legal requirements which are not comprehensively addressed in the current framework in India. So this is just a case. This is to show in order to have an effective EAFM framework implemented, possibly a country like India may have to strengthen its stakeholder participation, institutional coordination, and then adaptive management frameworks within their regulatory framework. So this is one approach that will help to understand while we are doing the activities in the field. As a country also may have to do some preparation in terms of strengthening their legal and regulatory framework. This is one we can think of as a best practice. And we also tried to compare the alignment of legal and regulatory framework in all the countries in the region, that is in South Asia. So we say, for example, in Bangladesh, India, Maldives, and Sri Lanka, across the fishery policy, across the primary legislations and then secondary legislations, we evaluated and compared with respect to the 80 plus indicators, how far there is alignment. So this helped to understand where is, if at all there is a kind of a change required, which other countries' regulatory framework can be looked up to, where is the opportunity for learning and then experience sharing. So this was an exercise which is being kind of developed jointly with FAO. There may be couple of additional, two additional areas that we learn, and then we believe will be of great advantage for the countries when we start implementing EAFM are number one, FAO has developed one implementation monitoring tool. Apart from the legal framework, even when we start implementing, there are multiple stages where we can monitor whether 100% of the EAFM principles have been effectively implemented or not. So for that, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There is a standard framework we can go through. And then if all the stakeholders are sensitized about this implementation monitoring tool, all the criteria, possibly this will be a conscious sticker for us to ensure effective implementation in every stages. One more point that we understood, and then we are trying to mainstream, possibly a good pointer for SEAFDEC and then other countries there to think of is though we don't call a particular good practice as EAFM, there could be many small scale or particular fisheries management practice where EAFM principles in different levels, it could have been mainstreamed or could have been implemented. So we have to break a myth in the nations and then the senior officials in the government, not to make them believe this project is kind of bringing a total new idea to the country. EAFM in different forms or in different levels possibly is being done in the countries. Only we need to strengthen that. So to create a database of best practices, good fisheries management practices in the within the country level will be a good starting point, so that we will understand okay, apart from the two pilot projects, there are other areas where the government can focus on to do a kind of a top up so that EAFM is effectively implemented. And we also have to appreciate and then understand that EAFM is a super knowledge intensive process, knowledge sensitive process. So the project has a very limited budget for kind of implementing 100% of the activities in all the countries. So there is a clear need for leveraging all the existing frameworks within the country, and then various multilateral projects which are happening within the country to dovetail to the activities which are targetedly implemented under the project. So project alone cannot possibly give the 100% outcome we realized. And so at BOBP, we are leveraging some of our ongoing initiatives. Like we have a Bay of Bengal policy research group comprising of experts. So we leverage that. And then we have a Bay of Bengal stock assessment network. So experts from the different countries. So these inputs and then scientific inputs are used for driving the evidence-driven fisheries management. And there is also a framework that we have like BIMSTEC Marine Research Network, where there was an opportunity to plan twinning research projects. So what we did was, like, during this twinning research projects, we tried to plug in as many research studies which will be possibly contributing to the EAFM implementation. So such research studies have been plugged within this funding mechanism. And around the project implementation sites, the key institutions and then agencies which have a potential to contribute, we have signed MOUs. So for continued engagement in terms of knowledge generation, support in community participation, and then various other activities. So largely, the idea is like to leverage our existing networks and institutional mechanisms. And also we have to align with the national projects in most of the countries. Why? In every country, there will be some projects which will be having some element of EAFM principles. So we may have to map our project activities to that, so that national implementation will be very handy. So this is with respect to the kind of best practices or the experience that we think, like based on our implementation the last 1 year, which possibly can be taken up by other countries as well. Lastly, before I conclude, I'll give a quick one more is like institutional capacity development. Of course, SEAFDEC also presented a similar case like here. So we did a residential training course for 15 days on EAFM, and 20 participants from 5 countries, 4 each. They all participated. It was really heartening to have participants from Thailand as well in this network. So that was a huge cross-learning between the region as well, sub-regions as well. So we are committed to do all the training programs in collaboration with the SEAFDEC. So similarly, for the MCS program, participants from all South Asian countries, they attended in Thailand. So this will breed a culture of cross-learning as well. And this training program was structured in a training of trainers model, so that though there were only 4 officials, we have provided all the necessary arms and ammunition in terms of content and then their training material, so that they should be able to replicate this training in their respective countries. And we have a mechanism to nudge them and then ensure that's happening. And as I told, the countries should have tried some element of EAFM in different parts of in the earlier period as well. So we thought we should look up to some of the good practices and then some of the good examples and then learn from what went wrong. So I'll just give a small case here. An area in India, southern part in Kerala, where the principles of EAFM were applied, and then there was a challenge. So how, when we plan a new activity now, what we should be taking as a lesson so that such things don't happen. So very quickly, I'll just give an overview of an earlier EAFM experience which provided lesson for our future. So this is a case of short neck clam fishery, 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗃. So this clam fishery was being practiced in Ashtamudi Lake. It's a lake, a brackish water lake in Kerala. It was providing a livelihood of close to 3,000 people, and then largely the people were using hand picking and then diving kind of stuff. And in the early 90s, suddenly the people realized, the fishermen realized, the catch was kind of declining. In 1991, it was 10,000 tons in the lake, and then it came down to 5,000, almost half. So people were quite apprehensive. The fishermen were quite apprehensive. There is a need to do something. So they requested the research organization in the region to help in finding the problem and then suggest a solution. So the Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute undertook a kind of a comprehensive survey, and they suggested some management measures like closing the fishery for some time, for 3 months, and then bringing in a regulation in mesh size, and exporters, the clam exporters or the people who are buying that, they should not buy it below a particular size. So all these measures really helped, and then within 2-3 years, the fishery started recovering. So 10,000 to 5,000 it came, and by 2000 it again reached to more than 10,000 tons. So it means involvement of community, use of scientific evidence really helped. And seeing this positive change, the community realized this kind of co-management approach is really good. So they volunteered to create a kind of a plan, and then they agreed to implement a clam fishery management plan with a lot of regulations, which otherwise it would have been very difficult for the government. Say, for example, in that area, a mandatory licensing was introduced. Fish closure was officialized, gear regulation, and prohibition of certain fishing practices. Minimum legal size was implemented religiously by all the stakeholders there, and a particular area was demarcated as clam sanctuary, and management area was defined. So many changes, which otherwise, if the government has to do on its own, is very difficult to implement. Through the participatory approach, it was seamlessly happening. All were happy. And eventually, they also developed a clam resource management council, where the department, administration, everybody was involved, and the scientific agency was providing the scientific input. The council, comprising all these people, they were kind of framing the guidelines, and the clam fishers, without any resistance, they implemented this council decisions. So because of this, this area became quite popular. The fishery got MSc Marine Stewardship Council certification. There was a premier prize in the export market, and even the government was showcasing this as a good model of management. But one challenge came during 2018 to 20, there was a severe flood due to heavy rain, and with a lot of turbidity and other things, like this water got kind of polluted, and the entire clam fishery was affected. Further, there was also a kind of an invasion of an alien mussel, 𝗘𝗔𝗰𝗁𝗂, which is different. So the fishery, which started from 10, declined to 5,000 tons, then again increased to 12,000 tons because of good management. Later, in the early 2020s, it came down to drastically, it was reduced to 700 tons. So the challenge when we think of EF is we should not be limiting our entire focus. The lesson is we should be going beyond community participation and implementing the kind of regulations. We have to keep an eye for other environmental factors also, and all the stakeholders, we may have to just keep monitoring that, and the council has to have a management plan to deal with that also. Otherwise, the hard work that we do on EAFM may be just taken away because of one environmental kind of a stress. So largely, to conclude, EAFM is a very slow process, and we all know, for decades we had been talking about it, but still through this BOBLME project, we are doing 2 pilots to get the idea grounded and show the success to the respective countries. So when the process is slow, we need to demonstrate benefits. not only ecological benefits, but there has to be monetary benefits also by adopting this. And there has to be the benefit in terms of the community feeling empowered by participating in the entire decision-making process. So, and more important is like we have to constantly have an adaptive management. That is the lessons that we learn, both positive and the negative, they may have to find a place in our entire management process. So to conclude, like actually we are implementing this EAFM project in the 4 member countries, 2 to 3 sites in every country. And we realize like the budget given is quite less. So we should be leveraging all the national projects which are having this principle, and we should be kind of contributing to strengthen the legal and regulatory framework. And we may have to ensure like the best cases are documented so that the learnings are kind of mainstreamed. Thank you so much. And now I request, of course, there could be some discussion if anything is pressing. I also request SEAFDEC to kindly help in moderating an interaction with other countries, may also share like among the countries who are participating here, kind of best practices or the cases that will have relevance and utility to others. Please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Krishnan, for your very comprehensive presentation. I think I have learned a number of issues from your presentation, especially the comparative assessment on EAFM framework, legal and policy framework assessment. Can I have just quick follow-up? You mentioned about 26 legal framework are missing from the total 84. What is the issues of missing legal requirements under this program? You plan to do something under this program, EAFM components under BOBLME phase 2?
Yeah. So under the Nansen program, FAO is doing this legal review to check the alignment of national laws with the EAFM principles. So they have identified 82 set of questions, whether this particular parameter is there in the existing laws, existing policies. So they have done for 30 countries. And then when we do this, say for example, in India, stakeholder participation is there in the in a loose way, it is mentioned in the policy, but that has not been made mandatory in the existing law. So that's a kind of a gap. If that is not there, even though we do our pilot through a voluntary process during our project implementation, so when the government has to scale it up, this will not have a legal footing. The council decisions may not have a legal backing or a regulatory backing from the national government. Like this, there are very, very small kind of items, 82 items. So we identify, and then as you rightly said, like during this project phase, we will be trying to nudge the government to bring necessary changes, amendments, or executive orders to address all these gaps. So they will also realize like, okay, this is our policy says we have to do it, but our legal framework is inadequate to make it operational. So our endeavor will be towards this. And the purpose of doing a comparative evaluation with other countries is to show to, say, for example, India, say Bangladesh is doing like this, Sri Lanka is doing like this, let us also do here. Similarly to Sri Lanka, we will say like India is doing like this on the same regulatory framework. We can also try here. So this is kind of experience sharing. We thought like that will work. That will be done during the project phase.
Thank you. I think very, very challenge to bring government intention to the gap and required under EAFM legal framework. One quick question from my colleague to Dr. Krishnan. I saw your slide showing some fisheries management unit having some problem with climate change before you change the government view or improve the government understanding, how do you deal with this issue, climate change?
Possibly, I think like it is on the last experience learning example I was presenting here. That's what actually I say. Like we generally when we take EAFM, we will be discussing the issue which is very, very local, and the community will be, we will be banging them with that idea, what is a solution, how we should work, so that in a small fishery in a limited geography we will be addressing. But there could be an issue because of larger external factors like a climate change or a flood or anything that will totally take away the benefit of our entire effort. So the point is, like, we may have to sensitize the community, not only the local issues, but also other potential external factors, including climate change, right from the beginning. So wherever possible, the council or the co-management framework should be having an alternative response plan in such eventualities. Otherwise, the community will not be having that wherewithal to swiftly respond and then come out of that challenge. Like, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we have remaining only 10 minutes to 12 local time, Bangkok. I think we can stop now. Thank you very much, Dr. Krishnan, for your kind contribution.
Did I take away the time of other countries? Like maybe, at least for 2 minutes, I request you to kindly take the feedback or experience sharing from other countries, Thailand and Malaysia, and if any other countries are here.
Yes, yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Krishnan. I think your last slide very interesting. EAF is really slow process. I believe that our project is more faster than EAF approach. Regarding the signature of our colleagues in Malaysia and Indonesia. Thank you very much. I think I should do my work now, try to wrap up what we have today since early morning. I show you few slides before noon. Okay, I was given this wrap-up message from my team. This morning you learned overview from BOB phase 1 and phase 2, targeting at building knowledge and partnerships in order to tackle marine issues in the Bay of Bengal region, culminating the endorsement of Strategic Action Program, or we call SAP, since 2015. And this SAP guiding us future actions and project developments on EAFM regarding under the big framework of BOBLME Phase 2 project. Under this BOBLME Phase 2 project, seeking to protect more and more marine and ecosystem services that estimate value of over 200 billion within 25 years. We have a task to how to make long-term preventing coastal and marine degradation and make our resource management sustainable way, while also having the scheme issues on protection, conservation of marine and coastal habitats. Also considering socioeconomic growth, sustainability. Our key components in the SAP, just a few keywords here: sustainable fisheries management, habitat restoration, pollution reduction, livelihood improvements, and of course, strengthening regional coordination, collaboration towards the sustainable fisheries. The EAFM institutions includes the project targeting at least 2 sites, having 2 EAFM plans in each participating countries. We are having already knowledge on how Thailand move ahead in terms of site selection and now in the progress of developing the EAFM plan, further to be monitor, implementing and evaluate. For your information, in Thailand, we have trained 68 practitioners to strengthen capacity on EAFM. Also, we have issues and implement activity to strengthen stakeholder engagement are on the way. As we observe today's presentation, we are establishing and enhancing national and also establishing regional platforms to engage more people to understand the concept of EAFM through the fisheries management long-term sustainability, involving governments and other key stakeholders. Last but not least, the key challenge, as we heard, resource management, strengthening coordination among key stakeholders. As we observe from Thailand, the fluctuation of resources in mackerel, fish stock, and budget for long-term to support community in managing the stock and operate appropriate coastal fisheries management in the local area, and issues on lacking of human resources for EAFM implementation, and some still unclear communication among agencies. And of course, still forever conflicts and environmental pressures to our coastal and marine resources. So that's all my wrap up, and this is the QR code where you please help the organizer to improve our webinar in the near future. This is evaluation form. While you are doing evaluation of this webinar, can I take this opportunity to invite our Secretary General to give you the final remarks, closing ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Waravit. I think that we come to the end of the webinar. I would like to thank each of you for your participation and engagement today. Your contributions and insights have made this webinar truly valuable. We have had the opportunity to reflect on the meaningful achievements of BOBLME Phase 2 project and the important role of the ecosystem approach to fishery management. We hope that the insights shared today can serve as helpful guidance for you in your respective roles. I encourage everyone to consider how the ideas we explore may be beneficial to your efforts. Collaboration and mutual support are very essential as we all strive for sustainable fishery management and the preservation of our precious marine resources. We are grateful for your dedication to this important work, and we look forward to continuing our collective journey toward positive impact. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors and have a very wonderful day ahead. So thank you very much.
Thank you very
so
much, Madam Secretary General. I would like to say in advance, Happy New Year to everyone. And hopefully we have a very happy implementing our activities for not only for EAFM, but other activities in under the project BOBLME Phase 2. Have a wonderful day and Happy New Year in advance to everyone. Hopefully to see you in person very soon. Thank you very much for your participation today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.